Okay.
It's in my creator's nature and my behavior to appeal to my senses that are greater, so I savor what seems to be unrealistic flavors. My aesthetic stretches out over blank paper, and I embank this truth as I add layer upon layer and collect water which will wave and waver into me and my riverbanks, and I find the strength to stretch the paper to my wavelength, and it comes with the sharpness of the saber.
Okay.
And the darkness and the whiteness of this as I labor. On it, and I ask myself for a new favor to cast myself out so that I can spout the truth out of my mouth. And account for what has been unaccounted for deep in the storm and its core and my core, and I let it roar out of me as it restores what has been ignored, and I let it lift from the floor as I open the front door, and I let the wind pour into this porous structure, and I let it all burst as I immerse what we fantasize will be realized when we open up our eyes, and it will materialize and mesmerize and hypnotize us and etherealize. Everything will change through these series and all of these lines and our own redesigns, as everything will be inclined and declined. And that's when I see that the whole world has been redefined. You gotta open your own mind for these moments and these new omens, which will change like the ball on the tip of the point of my pen, as everything will rip and I find something beyond zen, because this duality will happen again and again as we breathe in this oxygen. And we find the next gen, so we find a new context which everything will change, and it will be a new text within me which will exchange, and it will rearrange as we engage with it, and we move to a new stage of life when we put life onto these stages, and everything will change to these ranges constantly. And so we flip these pages again as this script flips again, and we find a new description, and we write it like inscriptions on these tombstones and on these ruins made of moon rocks, and it will shock everything when it's felt in the depths of our bones, and it's as low as a trombone that we feel it moan and groan. And that's when we connect back through it like it's a telephone, like it's a telegram. And so I added into another anagram. When reality was reshaping, it's formed into these monograms. You can see new realities in these octograms. Heaven and hell and earth connect within these hexagrams and within these pentagrams, and all of these stars that we see within these cryptograms. And we decryptify it with these cryptograms and in these ideograms. All of these ideas which come back into synchronicity, and it will be some sense of serendipity within our own reality. But this fantasy will also be filled with melancholy in our own energy, and so we find synergy and we find symmetry within everything, and it continues through our own energy and moves continuously and virtuously and sensuously, and we hope for it voraciously, and it reflects back auspiciously when it's crafted meticulously. And so we go through these drafts when these drafts of wind pass through us, and cast us out again as they outlast and contrast to become iconoclast. But at the same time, they come with our reasons and rhymes. They exist season after season and in our own grime. They reflect our idealized and the sublime.